Bloods, Fish here. So, you probably saw that Northwood released a new teaser for what's coming in 15.0. If you haven't, here's the image Northwood posted. A document and a conveniently placed low poly pen. Now, you've probably heard every Tom, Dick and Icy talk about their theories about what SCP could be added to the game. But today, I'm not here to talk about theories. No. I know what SCP is being added to the game. You heard me right, dear fish fauna. I have the undisputed answer to that burning question that's on all of your minds. For legal reasons, I do not actually know what SCP is being added. This is just a funny joke made by a funny person called Fishy Fawn. He would most completely be. But before we get on to that, I should probably give some of the context from the post that North put out. I'll keep it brief, because a lot of it is just them sucking themselves off about 14.0, which, cool lads, good year work that was. And then they go on to talk about the rest of the 14 series of updates, including a 14.1. 14.1.1. just give me a second. Why? Sorry, I don't mean to be overly negative. I'm sure I only have to wait a good 2 months to see that view of an update. And after preaching the terrifying concept of a 14.2 update, they say their focus is on 15.0, which is great! Back-to-back major updates would probably make me happier than a German kid with a big lollipop. But, enough of that. It's time to get into the real meat and potatoes of this video. Or should I say the fox and potatoes. So yeah, I'm a firm believer that 15.0 will include a new playable SCP, and said SCP is SCP-953. Now, if you don't know what SCP-953 is, she's basically a fox lady who bites people's dicks off and attends GIFCon. Now calm down, I know you're probably foaming at the mouth for the thought of a woman being added to SCP SL, but just sip up, listen up. There's plenty of reasons why I think 953 is the SCP that's being added. First and most obviously, the image says the SCP being transferred from Site 17, and guess where 953 is contained? Wow, look at that. Saying that there is like fucking 2 million SCPs contained in Site 17, but that's why I've got other reasons here. So number 2, and this is my main one. You know 3114, right? Our beautiful little skeleton boy who was cast away to the remote admin many eons ago. And ever since, people have been on their hands and knees begging Northwood to bring him back to the light. And they haven't. But why? Why have they not added this cute little fella back into the game? Well, I have a theory. So 953 has the ability to morph into multiple forms that they can use to disguise and blend into crowds. And 3114 has the ability to let him disguise and blend into crowds. So in short, I think they're turning 3114 into a sexy fox woman. Now you may be wondering, why would Northwood do this? They already have a perfectly good SCP that fits this gameplay niche. All they need to do is fix his strangulation and he's fine! And in all honesty, I have no clue why they would do this. But I can see them adding 953 as a more polished version of 3114's concept. Now, I don't think she'd be a carbon copy. I imagine her abilities will allow her just to switch forms on the fly, unlike 3114 having to kill someone to become them. And in all honesty, that would probably make the disguising gameplay more interesting. If done right, having an SCP that can change forms constantly can make for some very interesting scenarios. Also, in 953's article, it says that all her transformations have fox-like characteristics, so we could have fox versions of every class in SCP, so I'd say it's worth it. Anyway, although I say all that, I do hope I'm wrong here. I'm not going to sit here and get heated over something that isn't even confirmed yet, but if this is the case, then it would be an incredibly stupid decision for Northwood. We would basically be getting a major update that's main focus is something we already have in the game, albeit in a slightly different, bonier form. If this is all 15.0 has, then it'll be kind of dull, at least to me. Sure, 953 might be really cool, but there'll be that thought in the back of my mind, or, let's be honest, it'll be at the fun of it, that we could have got something totally new and not a glorified rework. Sorry, I don't know why I did the sound. I'm gonna add in editing, you fucking dickhead. And other than that, the rest of the factions line up with 953. They're Kia and the Sapient, so the ethics committee has a reason to be involved. Now, I may be completely off the mark here, but trust me, I've got 6 sense for these things. I'm like a fucking new SCP detector. But if I'm completely wrong, feel free to come back here and tell me I'm a fucking idiot. Until then though, how about I give you my thoughts on what could be added in the mentioned 14.2 patch they said might be coming in their post. Now, I know this is probably the most cookie cutter opinion in the world, but I really want 14.2 to be the ever anticipated gore update. Now, I'm not usually a preacher for gore. Seeing my enemy's guts spray against the wall when I shoot them doesn't usually improve my experience. But for one, I know it's something a lot of the community has been requesting for a while, and even I have to admit, it would definitely make a lot of moments in SL feel more punchy. I realized I never wrote a 2 in the script, so I guess this is just 1 point. Like, seeing 096 dash through one of my squad mates and seeing him turn into a fine red mist would probably scar me more than when the price of a Freddo went up by 15p. But, you know, on the topic of frog-shaped chocolate, gore would also play into the horror vibe that SCP SL is severely missing at the moment. If used tastefully, that is. If gore just slapped everywhere, it kind of loses all of its impact for me. So, if it's used sparingly enough, I think it could be a good addition to the game. But there is also the ethical side of things to consider here. I know, boring, right? Ethics. But there is the question of whether or not Northwood should add gore. Because it's a well-known fact that a lot of SCP SL players are children. And while I know Northwood doesn't have to make their development decisions based on a part of the player base that doesn't even make up the majority, I would argue, with the knowledge that children make up a pretty big part of the player base, Northwood has at least a little responsibility to not expose them to anything too severe. Now, I know gore in SL probably wouldn't be hyper-realistic or anything, so it'll probably be fine. Nothing they wouldn't see in, like, COD. But it's something I thought I should mention when considering an update like this. But now, what do I hope is in 14.1.1? Well, let me tell you, I don't want a fucking 14.1.1. When I first read that, I felt my heart shatter into a million little pieces like fly out to the sky, cursing Hubert Moscow for doing this to me. But in all seriousness, I don't really care. It'll probably be some balance changes and bug fixes that I honestly couldn't give a toss about. But on that note, I think that's all I have to say on the teaser. If you oh shit, yeah. Oh, I have an SL server now, by the way. The fish tank. It's proper cool. We're currently doing scheduled play sessions every week on my Discord. So if you'd be potentially interested in playing with me and such popular faces as Icy Guy and Icy Guy, probably others I get around, then make sure to stop by. You can always leave if you decide you hate me. Anyway, if you made it this far in the video, you probably enjoyed it somewhat, so please subscribe. Please. Please!